So first things first, if you have your blocks nearby, go ahead, grab those near you. We're gonna use them pretty soon. Let's start with wide stance. Pant hike up, come into temple pose, get your hips down pretty low here. You rock from side to side. We're already getting into some deep hip external rotation here right off the bat. Let's dip right shoulder in, push right knee away. Look towards the left. Inhale through center. Exhale over to the right. Oh man, yeah. Inhale through center. Exhale to the left. We'll go to the right again. Come back to center. Straighten your legs, and feet still are going to be turned out just slightly. From here, inhale your arms out and up over your head. Exhale your hands through center, and at the same time, bend your knees. Keep your knees bent. Inhale, reach out and up. This time, exhale, hands come all the way down to the earth. Spine stays nice and long. Inhale, come all the way up, straighten your legs. Keep them straight. Exhale, hands back to heart center. Inhale, arms reach out and up, knees bend. Exhale, hands reach out, hips reach back, heart forward. Inhale, straighten. Exhale through center. We'll do 2 more of these. Knees bend, arms up. Exhale, fingertips touch down, gaze forward. Last one. And we'll come back up to standing. Bring your hands over your head, hands to heart center. Actually, you can release your hands, grab a hold of your block and place it about, or 2 blocks, you'll figure out which right for you, and place it underneath where you might sit down. We're gonna work our way into an early malasana here. First, inhale your arms out and up. Just like we did before, coming down to this O-liner sort of stance. And then pivot from heel to toe on each side and slowly start to lower your hips down to these blocks. So as you sit here with your seat on the blocks, this is kind of like somewhat of a beginner level malasana. You can find out if this feels okay for you today, or if you even want to remove the blocks, you can. Since we're just starting out, it's kind of nice just to check in with a little bit of support. But you want your elbows in between your knees. Then you squeeze knees into elbows as you lift up through the crown of your head. Soften through your hips. Maybe close down your eyes. And we'll take a moment, just a few mindful breaths. Check in. See what the weather of our mind is. Maintain active pressure, knees pressing into elbows, spine lengthening. Just begin to arrive on your mat. One last deep breath in. Exhale, release. Bring your hands to the earth. Lift your hips straight up into the air. Turn your toes in or straight forward. You can move your blocks aside. And from here, we'll inhale back out and up again. Exhale your hands through center. Interlace your hands behind you. Knuckles reach down, heart reaches up. Hinge at your hips, knees bend, arms come up and over. The anti-desk stance. Release for your shoulders. It's anti-desk for your shoulders. Relax your neck. Maybe bend one knee and straighten the other leg. Get a little bit of movement here. And release your hands to the mat. Step back into downward dog. Again, take that moment to just pedal in place. Observe what's happening with your body today. Trying not to make any judgments about how it should feel. Just be with it as it is right now. From here, inhale your heels over your toes. Tuck your chin. Think cat pose as you roll forward into plank. Press into your fingertips. Pause with shoulders over wrists. Lengthen out from your heels through the crown of your head. Now exhale, elbows point back. Lower all the way to the mat. Tops of feet anchor into the earth, so you're pressing your toes down. Fingertips on the outsides of the mat. This gives your wrists a little bit of a break. Loop your shoulders. Lengthen the front of your body in cobra. And release. We'll do 2 more of those. Shoulders loop. Back of neck stays long as you come up. And soften. Last one. Maybe come up higher than the other 2 this time. Draw shoulder blades together. Open up across your heart. And come back to the earth. Hands come back underneath your shoulders, toes tuck, navel to spine, and press through plank to downward dog. Switch sides here. Deep inhale and exhale out your mouth. Big toes together. Inhale, then lift your right leg straight up in the air. Exhale, take your knee into your chest, lift from center, shift forward, place your foot between your hands. Ground your back heel, so your heel to arch alignment. Follow your left hand up and over for warrior 2. Flip your front palm, we'll come into reverse warrior, slide your left hand down your left leg. Exhale, right elbow passes right knee. Inhale, or actually you have options. So you can either place your right elbow on the inside of your right knee, or if you want to today, bring your hand all the way down to the earth, you can. Either way, your left arm will follow up and over, reach forward, and then use your strong core to bring yourself back up to warrior 2. Exhale, both hands to the mat. Try not to fall like I just did, and step back into plank. Exhale with patience. Come down to the mat. Inhale through cobra. And release. Tuck your toes resiliently. Come back through plank to downward dog. Inhale your left leg. Exhale, knee to chest. Foot between your hands. Back heel rotates down. Right arm leads the way. Lots of strength as your right arm comes up. Powerful through your arms. Left hand flips, reach down through your right hand. Big space through your left side body. On the exhale, keep the length. Elbow on the inside of knee or hand to the earth. Right arm reaches up and over, sweeps forward, and then pulls you back to warrior 2. Exhale, both hands down to the mat. Step into plank. Draw navel to spine as you lower. Find freedom and liquid-like movements in cobra. And then structure to balance the freedom back to downward dog. Right leg. Inhale, reach back. Exhale, knee to chest. Foot between your hands. Back heel lowers. Left hand leads the way, shoulder square. Right hand flips. Feet press down and apart. Exhale your right elbow to past the inside of your knee, or maybe right hand to the earth. Left hand up and over. Strong core, pick you back up. Hands to the mat. To plank. Come down to the earth. Peel yourself away from the mat and release. Come back through plank to downward dog. Last time here, left side. Inhale, left heel lifts. Exhale, knee to chest. Foot between your hands. Ground your back heel. Right arm lifts you up. Collarbones broad. Left arm reaches up and over. Left knee stays bent. Exhale. Elbow past knee. Right, keep your hips low as your right arm comes up and over. And back to warrior two. Hands to the mat. Step into plank. Exhale on the way down. Breathe in as you lift yourself away from the mat. Release. Let's come back to downward dog for 3 breaths. To check in. Notice any shifts in energy, any windows of opportunity. Things become more clear as you become more present. From downward dog, bring your knees to the mat. Take your feet to the side and we'll come to our backs for core work, which is not the same core work as Tuesday, unfortunately, which I know is disappointing for Kelsey specifically, because she's always like, man, I really love that core work we do where we lift our hands over our head and move our leg at the same time because it's so easy. She's always saying that. Okay, you can start with your knees bent here, but actually let's take them in towards your chest and grab a hold of your shins with each hand. So you're pulling your knees to the outside of your chest. I'm gonna turn so you can see me. This way, the other way is a little unpleasant. Now take your right leg, lift your right leg up. And we're gonna do this a couple times with our head, neck, and shoulders on the ground. And then bend your right knee. Lengthen through your left leg. And then bend again. This time as you lengthen your right leg out, twist towards the left, and then come back to center. Lengthen your left leg out, pulse up towards your right knee, and back to center. Again, right leg, right shoulder, or right elbow towards left knee, to center. Keep going. I know this is a little bit awkward. We'll do a couple more times on each side. I don't remember which one we started on or even how many we've done, to be quite frank with you. Let's do left leg lengthen one more time. Come back to center and place your feet flat on the mat. To counter, we'll bend at our elbows, fingertips point up. We'll come into an easy bridge. Maybe actually you can even take your hands over your head, relax your fingers. Just do an easy bridge here, nothing too crazy. A little bit of movement or sway sometimes feels nice. And then release. One more round of core work, a little bit different this time. Still bringing your knees in towards your chest. With your hands, separate your knees as much as you can, so as far apart as you can get them, and flex your feet. Now take your hands behind your head, and on the exhale, you'll lift head, neck, and shoulders and draw knees towards each other. Take it slow. Inhale, expand. Exhale, draw to center. Lift your shoulders up. Inhale, expand. Exhale, feel your strength. Open back up. Keep your gaze towards the ceiling as you lift, so you're not crunching through your spine. One more time, come to the top, and let's hold this one here. Just for a moment, just long enough to feel the effort. Keep your feet really flexed. Lift your shoulders up just a little higher. And then bring your feet down. Arms again above your head. We'll windshield, or take your feet as wide as the mat, and we'll windshield wipe our knees from side to side. And just notice your speed. What was your go-to tempo? How might that indicate what's happening in your mind? Do you have the ability to slow it down? All right, knees back to center. We'll come to standing either by rolling or coming to the side and then pushing up through all fours. Take your hands behind your thighs, get a little momentum. I like to roll at least 3 times. I'm going to come up to standing, get my spine ready for it. And then your 10 points. Well done. Good job. Let me just retie my shirt here. You will come to the top of your mat and start with your feet underneath your hips. Bring your hands underneath, or bring your hands to your hips and pivot or shift your weight over to your left foot. Come up onto your the ball of your right toe and externally rotate through your right leg. From here, you'll place the sole of your right foot either on your left calf or with an assist on the inside of your left, on the inside of your left thigh. And I want you to squeeze thigh into foot and foot into thigh. So you feel the tension activate and through this midline that's going to help keep you in balance. And then if you want to lift your arms up, you can turn your pinkies in towards each other. I know you can't see that. What you might want to watch for is your left hip jutting out. So keep your left hip drawn in and it'll help. Oh, a little off balance there. Oh. It'll help if you press foot into thigh and thigh into foot. That will really help keep everything drawn into middle. And bring your hands back to your hips. Turn your knee forward and then place it on the mat. A little bit of hip circling here. And we'll come back. We'll do the other side. Shift your weight into your right foot. Come to your left toes Externally rotate. And you'll notice that your knee isn't perfectly squared up because in order to do that, you'll probably have to turn your right hip forward. But we want to keep your hips pointed, or you'd have to turn your right hip to the side, but we want to keep your hips pointed forward. So left foot to calf or inside of thigh. Squeeze everything into middle, lift through the crown of your head. Notice if your right hip is jutting out and draw it into center. Draw navel to spine. And make sure that your left knee, or make sure that your hips are pointed directly forward rather than to the side. Now, if you want to lift your arms, add that element of balance. Lower ribs draw in, collarbones open. And bring your hands back through center to your hips. Turn your knee forward and ground your left foot. Big hip circles again. A little bit of counter movement. And we'll come back to the top of your mats or to your mat. Inhale your arms above your head. Exhale, take your full breath to lower your hands down to the mat and step into downward dog. From downward dog, inhale your right leg up and back and open up through your hip. Reach down through your left foot, up through your right, and square your shoulders off so you're not opening up to the right side. Now bend at your right knee. On an stay in downward dog, so your arms will not move, but take your knee in towards your chest on the exhale, and then inhale, trace a big circle with your knee out and up. Exhale, draw into center. Inhale, huge circle of your hip. And back towards your chest. Inhale out. This time as you exhale, draw into center, lift your left heel, keep your knee pulled up, shift forward, and place your right foot between your hands. Ground your back heel. Follow your left hand up and over into warrior two. So just do a little check. Make sure your stance is wide enough that your feet are underneath your wrists and you're lifting up through the crown of your head and moving your hips downward. Collarbones open, lower ribs drawn in. Let's add a little movement and maybe even close down your eyes. Exhale, pull your hands into center. Inhale, expand from heart to fingertips. Exhale, draw in. Inhale, open. See if you can maintain stability in your foundation with your legs and strength and dynamic, more fluid motion with your arms. One more time, hands to center. Inhale, open your arms up, strong through your arms, and straighten your front leg. Maybe heel toe your back foot in one click. So you're still heel to arch. Keep your arms out even with the horizon, and you'll shift your rib cage forward and your hips back. Oh. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, shift. One more time, back up to center. Exhale, shift, shift, shift. Keep reaching. Keep your right arm lifted. Turn your palm up And then lift your left arm up. So you're really using a lot of core work here. Like you're holding a giant beach ball. Super fun. This is great. Feels awesome on the shoulders, on the core. There's just a lot of work happening here. One more breath. And now you can place your right arm on lightly on your right shin. And maybe take your right hand to your hip if your left hand is fatigued, your left arm is fatigued. You'll turn your left ribs back, lengthen through the crown of your head. And I always like to call out that there's usually a need to shift hips forward and your rib cage back, and maybe draw in through your lower ribs. I always tend to find a little bit of extra stretch right here in my hip when I start to draw my lower ribs in, because I'm usually exaggerating some sort of back bend. That's just the way my body is built. All right, we'll come back to warrior two. It can be a little short ones. We're not going to stay here. Bend your front knee. And then straighten your leg, turn your right toes to the side. And we'll come into a temple pose of sorts. So get your hips low. Bring your hands to heart center. We'll add a little bit of movement here too for some additional core work. Reach your right arm up into the back of the mat and your left arm forward. Inhale, hands come through center, expand out. Exhale, left hand overhead, right hand to the back. And inhale out. Notice if your hips lifted, keep them low. Right hand up, left hand forward. Inhale, come through center. We're gonna do one more time on each side. Left hand on top. Inhale, keep your hips low. One more time to the back, right arm up. Inhale your arms out. Straighten your legs. Turn your toes in. Float your arms above your head and exhale with a long spine dive forward. Pivot to the top of your mat. Scoot your left leg back and ground your left knee. Take both hands to the inside of your right foot and walk your right foot out to the edge, the right edge of your mat. So you're turning out not just through your foot, but through your whole hip here. So you've got your foot out over here, and you're going to notice a tendency to want to shift your weight to the left side because there's less feels there. So just pay attention. Maybe you could even that out a little bit. So you might be here today, or maybe you could walk your hands out a little further, or come down to forearms, or forearms on blocks, also a really great option. We are going to be here for a bit, so I want you to find something that is workable, that you can hold, but is also creating transformation. See if you can keep your attention here with your body. Notice where you're clinging or holding extra tension. Sometimes it's our grip. Sometimes it's our jaw or forehead. If your mind starts to drift, gently usher it back to your breath and to your body. Sit with these sensations One more inhale. And exhale, release. Begin to walk your hands back in. Move your block aside. Hands underneath your shoulders. Tuck your back toe. We'll counter this by lifting our hips and then our right leg up and back and finding that same open hip we started this wave with. You can shake your leg out here. Just get the blood flowing again. From there, replace your right foot on the mat. Tuck your chin, lift your heels, inhale, come forward into plank, press into your fingertips, and slowly lower down to the mat. Fingertips press down, shoulders loop, move like a cobra as you lift your head. Exhale, release, and through plank, or as always, knee plank, come back to downward dog. Inhale your left leg up. Open up through your hips. Press down a lot through your right heel as you reach up through your left toes. Shoulders are squared. And bend at your left knee. Take a moment, just enjoy the expansion before we add on. Now exhale, bring your knee in towards your chest. Pull it up and inhale, big circle with your left knee out. Exhale, draw in, upper body stays in downward dog. Inhale, open. Exhale, draw in. We'll open up one more time. Exhale, draw your knee in towards your chest, hug it up in there, shift forward, place left foot between your hands. Ground your back heel for heel to arch alignment, setting up for warrior two. Already starting to turn your legs on to set up for that position. And then inhale, come up into warrior two. Taking a few moments to talk specifics and so we get about the same amount of time on each side. Again, just doing your little checklist. Check your front knee, make sure it's pointed towards the outside edge of your front foot, or at least kind of in that direction, which means you may have to turn your hips slightly to the front, but you want your shoulders square. Press down and away with your feet and pull up and in through the inseam of your back leg. Keep this activation. It's a lot. If you're really doing it all, it's work. See if you can keep that activation and add the dynamic movement of our hands. Exhale into center. With calm mind, inhale. Stretch out from heart to fingertips. Exhale to midline. Feel your lungs expand. One more round. We'll end with our arms stretched out. Take your time to get there. Arms strong. And straighten your front leg. Heel toe your back leg in. Setting up for our triangle pulses. Hips go back. Ribs shift forward. Reach. Inhale, come back to center. Arms stay horizontal the whole time. Exhale, slide forward. And come back. One more time. Glide forward. Go even further this time, but turn your left palm open. And your right arm reaches straight up. right out of its socket. It's like you're holding something big, but you're strong and resilient, and I know you can, so stick with it. Don't give up on me. You've got this. Pay attention to that strength. And now bring your left hand lightly to your left shin. Let's relieve your right arm so we can make this more about the structure of triangle. Right shoulder rolls back, left ribs, you can even manually do this. Left ribs roll forward, right ribs back. Move your hips slightly forward towards me and ribs away. And then you may notice if you have an over-exaggerated back bend like I do, that you need to draw your lower ribs in. Then I always feel a little extra stretch right here at the side of my hip, which I appreciate. One more breath here. And then we'll come back to a short warrior two. Straighten your front legs, turn towards the side of your mat. Come into a temple pose for a moment. And then from here, slide your hands down to your shins. Inhale, draw in through center. Exhale, lengthen through your spine. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale, like cat pose. Exhale, think cow. One more. And straighten your legs, turn your toes towards each other. Breathe your arms over your head. Exhale, dive forward. Pivot back to the top of the mat. Ground your back knee. Walk your left foot out to the side and bring both hands to the inside of your left foot. So you're turning out from your hip and your foot. Same options. You can stay here on your hands underneath your shoulders, walk them out so you get a little bit more sensation. Maybe come to a block. But again, you know we're going to be here for a bit, so find a workable position, something that is in the terms of toleration between bubble bath and dentist. Change isn't a comfort cruise. Bring your awareness to the sensations of your breath, sensations in your hip. Notice if you've pulled any tension unnecessarily anywhere else in your body. And every time your awareness starts to drift, it's like doing a little bicep curl for your mind. Awareness and presence is a muscle that we can strengthen over time. It takes practice, just like anything else. One last breath in. Exhale, release your breath. Begin to move your hands back in towards your body. Tuck your back toes. Lift your left leg up and back. Shake your leg out. Reground your left leg. We'll take one final vinyasa, heels lift over toes, roll forward into plank, exhale and lower down. Fingertips to the earth, moving mercuriously through cobra. And instead of back to downward dog, let's come through all fours. Move your feet to the side and come to your back. Want to make sure we have some time for a little bit of back bending in our close today. So we do a lot of forward folding in our lives, a lot of sitting. So we'll take some chance to counter that. All right. With your feet drawn in towards your hips, maybe you can reach your heels, but it doesn't have to be anything. They don't have to be super close. It kind of depends on your person, your body. You'll bend at your elbows, fingertips point up. Press down into your feet. Press your shins forward to help lengthen the front of your body. Then you can roll your shoulders more underneath you and possibly illuminate this pose a little bit more. Keep your knees in line with your hips. Their tendency is to want to splay. Make sure there's space between chin and chest. Gently release. Let's take one more pose. I have a back bend, so you can lift your hips again with your elbows bent, shoulders underneath you, or maybe you interlace your fingers, arms strong and straight underneath you. One's not better than the other. They're just different. Gently release your hands, release your hips. Walk your feet out to the sides of the mat. Once again, arms over your head, and slowly windshield wiper your knees from side to side. And this time, really pay attention to your tempo. You're setting the tone for how you'll spend your Shavasana. Slow it down intentionally. And then bring your knees in towards your chest. Wrap your arms around your shins. Grab a hold of your hands and sit for a moment here in Apanasana, seed pose. Pay attention to the places where your body is making connection with the mat. Notice your body breathing. Send your energy downwards. Now lengthen your legs out long in front of you, feet rolling away from each other, palms open. Maybe roll your shoulders more underneath you like we do in our bridge pose, allowing your palms to open even more. And allow yourself to rest in the space between your thoughts. Keeping your eyes closed, shepherd your awareness back into the space around you. With small movements at the perimeter of your body, bring movement back. Deepen your breath. Bend at your knees. Roll to one side, using your bicep as a pillow to pause for a moment and notice, how have the conditions of your mind changed from when we first started class in Malasana? From there, press yourself up to a seated position, your palms together, sitting tall, lengthening through the crown of your head. Thank you so much for coming today, for yourself, for each other, and thanks to all the yogis before us who have given us this practice. May you and all living things be safe, be happy, be healthy, and live with strength and ease. Namaste.